शुक्लांभरधरं विष्णुं शशिवर्णं चतुर्भुजं प्रसन्नवदनं ध्यायेत् सर्वविघ्नोपशान्तये। ॐ सहना भवतु सहनौ भुनक्तु सह वीर्यं करवावहै तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहै। ॐ शान्तिः शान्तिः शान्तिः। अगजाननपद्मार्कं गजाननमहर्निशम् अनेकदन्तं भक्तानाम् एकदन्तमुपास्महे। श्रीमहागणपतये नमः। गुरवे सर्वलोकानां विषजे भवरोगिणां निधये सर्वविद्यानां श्रीदक्षिणामूर्तये नमः। अस्मद्गुरुचरणारविन्दाभ्यां नमः। वसुदेवसुतं देवं कंसचाणूरमर्दनं देवकी परमानन्दं कृष्णं वन्दे जगद्गुरुं। ज्ञानानन्दमयं देवं निर्मलस्फटिकाकृतिम् आधारं सर्वविद्यानां श्रीहयग्रीवमुपास्महे। श्रीहयग्रीवमूर्तये नमः। सरस्वति नमस्तुभ्यं वरदे कामरूपिणि विद्यारम्भं करिष्यामि सिद्धिर्भवतु मे सदा। श्रीमहासरस्वत्यै नमः। उमाकोमलहस्ताब्जसम्भावितललाटकं हिरण्यकुण्डलं वन्दे कुमारं पुष्करस्रजं। வெற்றிவேல் முருகனுக்கு ஹரஹரோஹரா. லோகவீரியம் மகாபூஜ்யம் சர்வரக்ஷாகரம் விபும் பார்வதி ஹிருதயானந்தம் சாஸ்தாரம் பிரணமாம்யகம். சுவாமியே சரணமையப்பா. வாகர்த்தாபிவ சம்பிருக்தௌ வாகர்த்த பிரதிபத்தஹே जगतः पितरौ वन्दे पार्वती परमेश्वरौ। श्री पार्वती परमेश्वराभ्यां नमः। कोमलं पूजयन् वेणुं श्यामलोऽयं कुमारकः वेदवेद्यं परब्रह्मा तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः। अस्मद्गुरुचरणारविन्दाभ्यां नमः। श्रीकृष्ण गोविन्द हरे मुरारे श्रीनाथ नारायण वासुदेव। श्रीकृष्ण गोविन्द हरे मुरारे श्रीनाथ नारायण वासुदेव। श्रीकृष्ण गोविन्द हरे मुरारे श्रीनाथ नारायण वासुदेव। पीताम्बरं करविराजितचक्रशङ्खकौमोदकी सरसिजं करुणासमुद्रं राधासहायम् अतिसुन्दरमन्दहासं वातालयेशम् अनिशं हृदि भावयामि। कृष्णो रक्षतु मां चराचरगुरुः कृष्णं नमस्ये सदा। कृष्णेनैव सुरक्षितोऽहमसकृत् कृष्णाय दत्तं मनः। कृष्णादेव समुद्भवो मम विभो कृष्णस्य दासोऽस्म्यहम्। कृष्णे भक्तिरचञ्चलास्तु भगवन् हे कृष्ण तुभ्यं नमः। श्रीगुरुवायूरप्पा शरणं नम्राणां सन्निधत्ते सततमपि पुरस्तैरनभ्यर्थितानपि आर्तान् कामानजस्रं वितरति परमानन्दसान्द्रां गतिं च। इत्थं निःशेषलभ्यो निरवधिकफलः पारिजातो हरे त्वं क्षुद्रं तं शक्रवाटी ध्रुवमभिलषति व्यर्थमर्त्यव्रजो ह्यम्। श्रीगुरुवायूरप्पा शरणं श्रीभट्टपादम् अनिशं हृदि भावयामि। वंशी विभूषितकरात् नवनीरधाभात् पीताम्बरात् अरुणबिम्बफलादरोष्टात् पूर्णेन्दुसुन्दरमुखात् अरविन्दनेत्रात् कृष्णात् परं किमपि तत्त्वमहं न जाने। കൈരണ്ടും കൂപ്പി ഞാൻ വീണ്ടും ഇറക്കുന്നു നീരജലോചന നിന്നോടായി. ഏതീനു മഞ്ഞനെ കുമ്പിടേണ്ട തോറോ പ്രീതിയിൽ നീ എന്നെ പാലിക്കന്നായി. കൃഷ്ണ ഹരേ ജയ കൃഷ്ണ ഹരേ ജയ Krishna Hare Jaya Krishna Hare. Good morning, everyone. So I think we'll have to just do a review of 12 and then we'll continue with 13. Vijay, can you do one, and Harini, you can do one half of 12.
Sure, Rajesh. स्वायम्भुवो मनुरतो जनसर्गशीलो दृष्ट्वा महीमसमये सलिले निमग्नां स्रष्टारमापशरणं भवदङ्घ्रिसेवा तुष्टाशयं मुनिजनैः सह सत्यलोके कष्टं प्रजा सृजति मय्यनविर्निमग्ना स्थानं सरोजभव कल्पय तत्प्रजानाम् इत्येवमेष कथितो मनुना स्वयंभुः अम्बोरुहाक्ष तव पादयुगं व्यचिन्तीत् हा हा
Vijay, the first line, last word, Mayyava nir nimagna.
Oh, sorry. Mayyava
Mayyava nir
nimagna.
nimagna.
Mayyava nimagna.
Yeah, correct.
Thank you. हा हा विभो जलमहं न्यपिबं पुरस्तात् अद्यापि मज्जति महि किमहं करोमि इत्थं त्वदङ्घ्रियुगलं शरणं यतोत्स्य नासापुतात् समभव शिशुकोलरूपी अङ्गुस्तमात्र वपुरुत्पतितः पुरस्तात् भूयोत कुम्भिसदृशः समज्रं बतात्स्त्वम् अभ्रे तथाविधमुदीक्ष्य भवन्तमुच्चैः विस्मेरतां विधिरगात् सह सूनुभिः स्वैः.
Sunubhis swaihi.
Sorry, Kirpi, sorry.
And the last word is Sunubihi, and the Visarga becomes a is, so Sunubhis swaihi.
सही. Yeah. सही. कोसावचिन्त्य महिमा कितिरुत्थितो मे नासापुतात् किमु भवेद जितस्य माया इत्थं विचिन्त्यति धातरि शैलमात्रः सद्यो भवन् किल जगर्जितघोरघोरं तं ते निना. Sorry.
तं ते निनादमुपकर्ण्य जनस्तपस्ताः सत्यास्थिताश्च मुनयो नुनुवुर्भवन्तम् तत्स्तोत्रहर्षुलमनाः परिणद्य भूयः तोयाशयं विपुलमूर्तिरवास्तरस्त्वम् ऊर्ध्वप्रसारि परिधूम्रविधूतरोमा प्रोक्षिप्तवालधिरवाङ्मुखघोरगोणः तूर्णप्रदीर्णजलदः परिघूर्णदक्ष्णा स्तोतॄन्मुनीन् शिशिरयन्वतेरितत्वम् अन्तर्जलं तदनु सङ्कुलनक्रचक्रं भ्राम्यत्तिमिङ्गिलकुलं कलुषोर्मिमालम् आविश्य भीषणरवेण रसातलस्तान् आकम्पयन् वसुमतीम् अगवेशयस्त्वम् दृष्ट्वा ददैत्यहतकेन रसातलान्ते संवेशितां झटिति कूटकिटिर्विभो त्वम् आपातु कानविगणय्य सुरारिखेटान् दंष्ट्राङ्कुरेण वसुधाम्
Adadha salilam.
दंष्ट्राकुरेण वसुधाम् अदधा सलीलम् अभ्युद्धरन्नतधरां दशनाग्रलग्नमुस्ताङ्कुराङ्कित इवाधिकपीवरात्मा उद्धूतघोरसलिला जलधेरुदञ्चन् क्रीडावराह वपुरीश्वर पाहि रोगात्.
Very good. So we finished up to stanza 3 of Dashakam 13. So we'll continue from 4. So first half, Jyoti, you can be a student, and both the Jyotis actually. I had both of you today. So first half. So all right. So we'll start from stanza 4. गधा पानौ दैत्ये त्वमपि हि गृहीतोन्नतगतो नियुद्धेन क्रीडन् घटघटरवोद्गुष्टवियता रणालोकौत्सुक्यान्मिलति सुरसङ्गे द्रुतममुं निरुन्ध्याः सन्ध्यातः प्रथममिति धात्रा जगदिशे. So we saw in the last Dasakam about the Varaha avataram, right? Which is to kind of say Earth was not yet fully manifested for civilization to happen for Swayambhuva Manu. So Lord then had to incarnate as Varaha to make things ready. And then at the same time, Hiranyaksha was also roaming around, trying to find an worthy opponent to fight with, who was one of the first birth of Jaya, right? Jaya Vijaya's first one. So they both meet. So, he first ridicules, Hiranyaksha was ridiculed, saying, why, who is this Narayana you are saying, but he's like a wild animal. And why will I fight with a wild animal when I go fight with the Devas, right? So eventually they both start battling. And in the battle, all of these things typically it goes for a while, it just keeps on, they keep fighting, right? And Bhagwan also never lets go. He also keeps fighting with whoever he wants to fight with for a long time till something happens. So at that point, at some point, Brahma comes and he intervenes, right? Brahma says, this Hiranyaksha has been a nuisance for us. He's been kind of disturbing us a lot. He's been displacing the Devas. And I know you can kill him, you can get rid of him very easily, but it's always your Leela that you always continue to play, right? You don't want to finish it off fast. So Brahma says, anytime there's a lot of tamas, right, which is a lot of darkness, ignorance, you should never let it build up, right? Because the more you build up, it says it accumulates and then become more stronger. So Brahma comes and intervenes, saying, why don't you just get rid of this Hiranyaksha very quickly? So Ghada Panau Daitye, comma, Twamapi hi Grihitonata Gado. So it's a double na coming there. You cannot break that word. Grihitonata Gado, comma, Niyudhena Kridan, comma, Ghata Ghatarabot Gushta Vieta. Gadha Panhau Daitye Tomapi hi Grihitonata Gado Niyudhena Kridan Ghata Ghatarabot Gushta Vieta.
Oh, sorry. Go ahead, Jyoti. No, go ahead.
I thought you will start. Gadapanau daitye tvamabihi grihitonnadagado niyuttena kritan khadakhadaravotkuštaviyata. Gadapanau daitye tvamabihi grihitonnadagado niyuttena kritan khadakhadaravotkuštaviyata.
Gadapano daitye Tomabihi grihito nadagado niyuttena kridan khadagaravol kuštaviyada. Gadapano daitye Tomabihi grihito nadagado niyuttena kridan khadagaravol kuštaviyada.
Rana lo kaut sukyan milati. You cannot break that word too much. So Rana lo kaut sukyan milati. Sura sanghe dhrutamamum. Then put a plus. Nirundhyaha. And then put a comma after that. Nirundhyaha, comma. Sandhyataha. Then put a F to join. Sandhyatah. Pratamamiti. Dhatra jagadishe. Ranha lokautsukyan milati surasanghe dhrutamamum nirundhyaha sandhyatah pratamamiti dhatra jagadishe.
रणलोकौत्सुक्यान् मिलति सुरसङ्घे द्रुतममुं निरुन्ध्याः सन्ध्यादः प्रथममिति दात्रा जगदिशे. रणलोकौत्सुक्यान् मिलति सुरसङ्घे द्रुतममुं निरुन्ध्याः सन्ध्यादः प्रथममिति दात्रा जगदिशे.
I have a question.
Oh.
So this Sukyan Meladi, is there a comma after that or just?
No, that's continuous. That whole line and then nirundhyaha and then sandhyatah.
Okay, yeah. Rana lokaul sukyan meladi surasankhe drumamamum nirundhyaha sandhyada pradhamamidhi dhatra jagadishe. Rana lokaul sukyan meladi surasankhe drumamamum nirundhyaha sandhyada pradhamamidhi dhatra jagadishe.
Jyoti, the third line, last word, dhrutamamum. You were saying you're saying the tha was missing when you were saying that, Jyoti Chandran.
Surasankhe drudamamum.
Yeah, correct. Yeah.
Right? Okay. Niru.
Stanza 5. गधोन्मर्धे तस्मिन् तव खलु गदायां दिति भुवो गदाघाताद् भूमौ झटिति पतितायाम् अहह मृदुस्मेरास्यस्त्वं दनुजकुलनिर्मूलनचनं महाचक्रं स्मृत्वा करभुवि दधानो रुरुचिषे. I'll say 5 and 6 meaning together. It kind of flows. Gadon marde tasmin. You will actually have a is there, but when you'll have a dot for those who are following Sanskrit. It will be a dot on top of ma and then a is, but that will become an in when you pause there. So Gadon marde tasmin in comma tava khalu gadayam diti bhuvo comma gada ghatat bhumau comma झटिति पतितायाम अहह भोः गधोन्मर्धे तस्मिन् तव खलु गदायां दिति भुवो गदाघाताद् भूमौ झटिति पतितायाम अहह भोः
गदोन्मर्थे तस्मिन् तव खलु गदायां दिदि भुवो गदाघाताद् भूमौ झटिति पतितायामहह भोः गदोन्मर्थे तस्मिन् तव खलु गदायां दिदि भुवो गदाघाताद् भूमौ झटिति पतितायामहह भोः
गदोन्मर्दे तस्मिन् तव खलु गदायां दिदि भुवो गदाघाताद् भूमौ झटिति पतितायामहह भोः गदोन्मर्दे तस्मिन् तव खलु गदायां दिदि भुवो गदाघाताद् भूमौ झटिति पतितायामहह भोः
मृदुस्मेरास्यस्त्वं, cannot break that word, मृदुस्मेरास्यस्त्वं comma धनुजकुल निर्मूल नचनं comma महाचक्रं स्मृत्वा comma करभुवि दधानो रुरुचिषे मृदुस्मेरास्यस्त्वं धनुजकुलनिर्मूलनचनं महाचक्रं स्मृत्वा करभुवि दधानो रुरुचिषे
मृदुस्मेरास्यस्त्वं धनुजकुलनिर्मूलनचनं महाचक्रं स्मृत्वा करभुवि दधानो रुरुचिषे मृदुस्मेरास्यस्त्वं धनुजकुलनिर्मूलनचनं महाचक्रं स्मृत्वा करभुवि दधानो रुरुचिषे
मृदुस्मेरास्यस्त्वं धनुजकुलनिर्मूलनचनं महाचक्रं स्मृत्वा करभुवि दधानो रुरुचिषे मृदुस्मेरास्यस्त्वं धनुजकुलनिर्मूलनचनं महाचक्रं स्मृत्वा करभुवि दधानो रुरुचिषे.
Stanza 6. ततः शूलं कालप्रतिमरुषि दैत्ये विसृजति त्वयि छिन्दत्येन करकलितचक्रप्रहरणात् संहारुष्टो मुष्ट्या सकलु विदुदंस्त्वां समतनोत् गलन्माये मायाः त्वयि किल जगन्मोहनकरीः. So this battle is starting. First, this Hiranyaksha then he knocks off so Varaha is first coming with a mace. So Hiranyaksha knocks that off to the ground. But, Varaha is not too bothered. So he continues with the Mridus Meras Yastvam. He continues with a smile on his face. And because he's the incarnation of Vishnu, he can always bring the Sudarshana Chakra anytime he wants. So he then calls the Sudarshana Chakra. So now he's standing, so you can imagine Varaha standing now with the Sudarshana Chakra in his hand, ready to fight with Hiranyaksha. So as this is going on, the Hiranyaksha being an Asura is also very powerful, like how Ravana and Kumbhakarna, even when the Ramayana battle was happening, and even later on when Krishna is fighting with a lot of the Samba, a lot of these other Asuras, they can actually create illusions of certain things which are not actually there. Which means that, for example, they brought Sita, Asura and beheading her. And similarly in Krishna Avataram also, they'll come and they'll try to kill Devaki in front of Krishna. But all of those are just illusions that they create. Similarly, here Hiranyaksha is also trying to come and create those illusions which don't exist anymore. But he says, but you are Jagan Mohanakari. You are the one who creates illusion for the entire world. So of course you are not bothered too much by the illusions that Hiranyaksha is creating. So anyway, so the battle is continuing with between Hiranyaksha and Varaha. So Tataha, put the ish to join. Tatash Shulam Kala Pratimarushi Daitye Bisrijati, comma. So that line is continuous, comma at the end. Tvai Chindat Yenat, comma. Karakalita Chakra Praharanat. ततशूलं कालप्रतिमरुषि दैत्ये विसृजति त्वयि छिन्दत्येन करकलितचक्रप्रहरणात्
तदशूलं कालप्रतिमऋषिदैत्ये विसृजति त्वयि छिन्दत्येरत् करकलितचक्रप्रहरणात् तदशूलं कालप्रतिमऋषिदैत्ये विसृजति त्वयि छिन्दत्येन करकलितचक्रप्रहरणात्
ततशूलं कालप्रतिमऋषिदैत्ये विसृजति त्वयि छिन्दत्येनत् करकलितचक्रप्रहरणात् ततशूलं कालप्रतिमऋषिदैत्ये विसृजति त्वयि छिन्दत्येनत् करकलितचक्रप्रहरणात्
समारुष्टो मुष्ट्या स खलु विदुधंस्त्वां समतनोत् गलन्माये मायाः. So that is there. We'll put a visarga comma. Mayaha. Tvai kila jagan mohana karihi. Long e at the end. Samharushto mushtya sakhalu vidudham stvam samatanot galan maye mayaha tvai kila jagan mohana karihi.
समारुष्टो मुष्ट्या सखलु विदुदं स्त्वां समतनोद गलन्माये मायाः त्वयि खलु जगन्मोहनकरी.
Sorry, last line. Tvai kila. I think so. Tvai khalu.
त्वयि खलु जनेना. Okay. त्वयि किल जग last la kari hi undilya.
Karihi, which is there, yes.
समारुष्टो मुष्ट्या सखलु विदुदं स्त्वां समतनोद गलन्माये मायाः त्वयि किल जगन्मोहनकरीः.
समारुष्टो मुष्ट्या सखलु विदुदं स्त्वां समतनोद गलन्माये मायाः त्वयि किल जगन्मोहनकरीः. समारुष्टो मुष्ट्या सखलु विदुदं स्त्वां समतनोद गलन्माये मायाः त्वयि किल जगन्मोहनकरीः.
Rajeshji, I have a question.
Yeah, sure.
The second line, Sakhalu, is it Vitu Dam, small the, is it Vitu Damstvam or is Vitu Dhamstvam?
No, it's first letter that is coming is the tha, like you said, Vitu. Then the is the first the of Sanskrit. So number 3 in Tamil, if it is there. So
Okay,
Vitu Damstvam. Stanza 7. So couple of stanzas here will have some tongue twister words, but we'll break it up. Bhavachakra Jyotish Kanalavanipaten Vidute Tato Maya Chakre Vitata Ghana Roshandhamanasam Garishta Bhirmushti Prakritibihi Abhignantamasuram Karagrena Svena Shravanapadamule Niravadihi. So just like how when Diti was pregnant, right? We talked about how everything was dark everywhere because she was carrying Hiranyaksha and Hiranyakashipu in the womb. So similarly here now in the time of destruction is coming of Hiranyaksha, it is like this darkness everywhere and it feels like something bad is going to be happening. So at that time, even Diti is remembering, what Kashyapa had said that although her sons would be demons, and they're going to cause destruction of the devas, but they'll eventually be killed by the incarnation of the Lord. So she also feels in her mind as a mother that the time has finally come right now. So all the illusions that Hiranyaksha is trying to create, so all of that, was Varaha did not get impacted by it. And finally, when they started, physically fighting, right? So, that's also like a blessing because it'll come later on when Krishna is battling Chanura, right? He says every time a wrestler or somebody is going and battling, what you're really doing is you're hugging the Lord. So he says that is opportunity for liberation, right? So that's what is happening. So he's fighting, he's physically touching Varaha. So he's blessed because of that. And eventually, when the appropriate time came, so here there are two different versions of it. So sometimes when I read it, some of you might have had a different word in your book, the last line. So there are two versions. One of them says, with your leg, you hit him at the base of his ear. So Varaha, with your leg, you hit Hiranyaksha at the base of his ear. Other says, with your hand, you hit him at the base of your ear. It doesn't matter. If you imagine a boar form, when the boar is standing on its four legs, you can say, okay, it's four legs. But when it stands erect, you can say the front two are hands. So it doesn't matter how it is, but we'll stick to the version that we are following here, which is with his hands. Okay. So from the front. So with his hands, you hit the base of the ear. So the question is, why do you hit the base of the ear, right? So in fact, for those, I don't know, some of you are from Kerala, there is this Odeon concept in Kerala, right? You might have seen that Mohanlal movie also, which is there. So even there also, when that Odeon is there, which can take different shapes and different forms and they can run. So to get rid of them is you always hit at the base of the ear, because that base of the ear, when you hit, somehow it's very powerful and it will bring the person down, right? Whatever ability they have, it'll all go down. Plus, you could also think of it as ear is the source of knowledge, and Varaha is the thing. Hiranyaksha is very ignorant. So he's kind of, it's kind of knocking it off, right? So that his ignorance goes away. But either way, it doesn't matter what happened, but that's what happens. He hits at the base of the ear, and finally, Shravana Padamule Inavadi. When he hits it, Hiranyaksha is the end of him. So, Bhavach, Chakra, Jyotish, Khana, Lava, Nipathena, Viduthe. So that line is continuous, comma at the end. Tato Maya Chakre, comma, Vitata, Ghana, Roshandha, Manasam. Bhavachakra Jyotish Khana Lava Nipatena Vidute Tato Maya Chakre Vitata Ghana Roshandha Manasam.
भवच्चक्रज्योतिष्कणलवनिपातेन विधुते ततो मायाचक्रे विदधघनरोषान्धमनसम् भवच्चक्रज्योतिष्कणलवनिपातेन विधुते तथा मायाचक्रे विदधघनरोषान्धमनसम्.
Second line, first word, tato. I think the second time you said tata, but tato.
Okay, I don't know why I'm skipping. Tado मायाचक्रे विदधघनरोषान्धमनसम्.
भवच्चक्रज्योतिष्कणलवनिपादेन विधुदे तदो मायाचक्रे वितदघनरोषान्धमनसम् भवच्चक्रज्योतिष्कणलवनिपादेन विधुदे तदो मायाचक्रे वितदघनरोषान्धमनसम्.
Garishtabhir Mushti Prahritibihi. So the r which is coming after that, we put a visarga and comma. Prahritibihi, comma. Next word will start with the a. Abhignantam asuram. Abhignantam asuram, comma. So here, in case some of your books will have Swapadangushtena. If your book has that, you have to strike it off. It means Pada Angushtena, with the tip of the toe of your feet. Instead, we're going to knock it off and say Karagrena Swena. Okay, if you want, I can type it if anyone wants me to clearly. So Karagrena Swena, comma, Shravana Padamule Niravadhihi. Garishtabhirmushti Prakritibihi Abhignantamasuram Karagrena Swena Shravana Padamule Niravadhihi.
गरिष्ठाभिर्मुष्टिप्रहृतिभिः अभिज्ञन्दमसुरं कराग्रेण स्वेन श्रवणपदमूले निरवधिः गरिष्ठाभिर्मुष्टिप्रहृतिभिः अभिज्ञन्दमसुरं कराग्रेण स्वेन श्रवणपदमूले निरवधिः
गरिष्ठाभिर्मुष्टिप्रहृतिभिः अभिज्ञन्दमसुरं कराग्रेण स्वेन श्रवणपदमूले निरवधिः गरिष्ठाभिर्मुष्टिप्रहृतिभिः अभिनन्दमसुरं कराग्रेण स्वेन श्रवणपदमूले निरवधिः.
Rajesh ji, I have a question.
Yeah.
Last line.
Hmm.
Hara grena svena. What sa is that? Sa, sha, sa. Which one?
Sa.
The
S.
second.
Karagrena swena.
Swain. Just and then the na is just the normal na, not ana.
Normal na. Yeah. Swena.
Swena. Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Stanza 8.
Rajesh, I have a completely different word in that place. Would you be able to just?
If you must have swapadangushtena.
Yeah.
Okay, so I'm just going to type it. Okay, what you can replace that with. Even the next stanza, you may have to change it. Because some books have it that way.
Thank you.
Karagrena swena. So I just typed those two words. So instead of swapadangushtena, strike that and type and just write down whatever I typed. Stanza 8. Mahakaya sohyam tava karasaroja pramatito galadrakto vaktrat apatadrishabhishlagitahatihi tada tvam uddhama pramadabhara vidyoti hridaya munindra sandrabihi stutibiranuvanadvaratanum. To put up a tough stanza, but we'll break it. So this Asura who's massive in size, right, Hiranyaksha, because even Varaha is also equally massive in size. Like we said, with the tip of his tusk, he lifted the earth, right? So even Hiranyaksha is equally sized. So eventually Hiranyaksha's he comes to an end, because like he was hit at the base of his ear. And then when he falls down, of course, all the sages and everybody is very happy. So when any time, in any, whether it be in Narayaneeyam, Devi Mahatmyam, or any of these things, there's always a stuti which happens before and there's a stuti which happens later, right? One is before you request for ask for something, you pray. And then after your whatever has happened, then you pray again. So here they describe this Varaha in the form of a yajna. So you all heard of yajna Varaha Murti. That is going to come in the next stanza, what that description is. But here it says they are worshipping you as an embodiment of the yajna, right? They are worshipping Varaha. So Mahakaya, put the is to join, Mahakayas soyam, comma, tava. Again here, you might have charana patha, some of you, because again means foot. But we're going to change it to kara saroja. I'll type it again, that particular word. Kara saroja means lotus like hands. So tava kara saroja pramatito, comma, Galadrakto Vaktrat. So the that is there, we'll break it into it first. Vaktrat, comma. Next word will start with the A. Apatha Drishibhihi. Put the ish to join, Drishibish. Shlagita Hatihi. So Apatha Drishibish Shlagita Hatihi. Mahakaya sohyam tava karasaroja pramathito galadrakto vaktrat apatadrishibhishlagita hatihi.
महाकाय सोऽयं तव करसरोजप्रमथितो गलद्रक्तो वक्त्राद् अपदर्शिभिश्लाघितहदिः.
On the second line, apatadrishibhish.
Okay. अपददृशिभिश्लाघितहदिः. महाकाय सोऽयं तव करसरोजप्रमथितो गलद्रक्तो वक्त्राद् अपदर्शिभिश्लाघितहदिः.
महाकाय सोऽयं तव करसरोजप्रमथितो गलद्रक्तो वक्त्राद् अपददृशिभिः श्लाघितहदिः. महाकाय सोऽयं तव करसरोजप्रमथितो गलद्रक्तो वक्त्राद् अपददृशिभिः श्लाघितहदिः.
Jyoti, on the second line, apatadrishibhish. After the D, you add a ish to join instead of the visarga there.
Apatadrishibhishlakitahadihi.
Correct, yes. So you will have two ish coming there. Okay. Tada Swam Uddhama Pramadabhara Vidyoti Hridaya. I think some books have Hridayaha. If you have that Visarga, you can remove it. Most books don't have it. Hridaya, comma. Munindraha, put a is to join. Munindras Sandrabihi, comma. So the next one, it's a long word. We'll break it. Stuthibhir Anuvannadhvara Tanum. So a double n coming there. So Stuthibhir Anuvannadhvara Tanum. But if you want to break at that ra, it might be easy. Stutibir Anuvannadhvara Tanum. Tadha Twamuddhama Pramadabhara Vidyoti Hridayam Munindra Sandra Bihi Stutibhiranuvannadhvara Tanum.
तदा त्वामुत्थाम प्रमदभरविद्योदिहृदया मुनीन्द्रासान्द्राभिः स्तुतिभिरनुवन्नध्वरतनुम् तदा त्वामुत्थाम प्रमदभरविद्योदिहृदया मुनीन्द्रासान्द्राभिः स्तुतिभिरनुवन्नध्वरतनुम्
तदा त्वामुद्दाम प्रमदभरविद्योदिहृदया मुनीन्द्राः सान्द्राभिः स्तुतिभिरनुवन्नध्वरतनुम् तदा त्वामुद्दाम प्रमदभरविद्योदिहृदया मुनीन्द्राः सान्द्राभिः स्तुतिभिरनुवन्नध्वरतनुम्.
Stanza 9. Tvachicchando Romaswapi Kushaganaschaksushi Ghritam Chaturhotaronghrau Srugapi Vadane Chodaraida Graha Jihvayam Te Parapurusha Karne Chachamasaha Vibho Somo Vidyam Varada Galadeshe Pyupasadaha. So you have to now visualize a homam that is happening, like a Vedic sacrifice that is happening, and then all the things which are required for it is described as one of the body part of that Varaha. That's why it's called a Yajna Varaha Murti, because he's an embodiment of the Yajna, right? So it first starts off with the skin is the Tvachi Chando, is the Chandas is the mantras, Vedic mantras. So you see your skin is the Vedic mantras. The hair which is on your body is the kusha grass, the dharbai which is actually put all over. So it's a kusha grass. Your eyes are like the ghee, and then your feet. So at the four corners of the Homagundam, there are like supposed to be four priests, like an embodiment of the four priests, right? They don't physically. Originally, they used to sit, right? Each of the demigods have to sit at various places. But anyway, for us, when we normally do it, we just put a representation. So he says your 4 feet, because you are a boar. So your 4 feet are those four priests which are there. Your face is sruk. Sruk is the long wooden ladle they actually use to pour the ghee, right? So that's called as sruk. So the long one which they do, right, at the very end for Purnahuti, etc. So that is your face. And then your stomach is the ida. Ida is the big pot which holds all the things which are required for offering. So if you're offering ghee or whatever you're doing, the big pot which holds it, that's the ida. So he says that's your stomach. Then graha jihva yamte. Your tongue is jihva, is the soma pot, which is like the offering of nectar, which is there. That is your tongue. And then your ears are the chamasas, which is like after you put the offerings, so whatever is remaining of the offerings, leftovers, right, that is kept in small vessels. So he says that is your ears. So and then your neck is called as all the other rites, others religious activities which happens and everything is your neck. So essentially what you're doing is the ingredients which are there and the offerings and the process itself is described in the form of a varaha. The various parts of your body are representation of that. It's just a representation. So that is this description here. So tvachi chando, comma, romaswapi kusha ganash chakshushi ghritam, comma, chatur hotaronggrau, comma, srugapi vadane chodara ida. Tvachicchando romaswapi kushaganaschaksushi ghritam chaturhotaronghrau srugapi vadane chodara ida.
त्वजिच्छन्दो रोमस्वविकुशगणश्चक्षुषीकृतं चतुर्होदारोङ्घ्रौ सृगपिवदने चोदरैढा त्वजिच्छन्दो रोमस्वविकुशगणश्चक्षुषीकृतं चतुर्होदारोङ्घ्रौ सृगपिवदने चोदर इढा
त्वजिच्छन्दो रोमस्वपि कुशगणश्चक्षुषि कृतं चतुर्होदारोङ्घ्रौ सृगभिवदने चोदर इडा त्वजिच्छन्दो रोमस्वपि कुशगणश्चक्षुषि कृतं चतुर्होदारोङ्घ्रौ सृगभिवदने चोदर इडा
Graha jihvayam te ha jihvayam te comma para purusha karne cha chamasaha. Some of the books may not have that visarga. If you don't have it, add it. Chamasaha, comma vibho somo viryam, comma barada galadeshe pyupasadaha. That word you have to say it together. It's apyupasadaha, but the S symbol is coming, so you say the whole word together. Graha jihvayam te parapurusha karne chachamasaha vibho somo viryam varada galadeshe pyupasadaha.
ग्रहा जिह्वायां ते परपुरुषकर्णे च चमसाः विभो सोमो वीर्यं परदगलदेशेऽप्युपसदः ग्रहा जिह्वायां ते परपुरुषकर्णे च चमसाः विभो सोमो वीर्यं वरदगलदेशेऽप्युपसदः
ग्रहा जिह्वायां ते परपुरुषकर्णे च चमसाः विभो सोमो वीर्यं वरदगलदेशेऽप्युपसदः ग्रहा जिह्वायां ते परपुरुषकर्णे च चमसाः विभो सोमो वीर्यं वरदगलदेशेऽप्युपसदः
मुनीन्द्रैरित्यादिस्तवनमुखरैर्मोदितमनाः महीयस्या मूर्त्या विमलतरकीर्त्या च विलसन् स्वधिष्ण्यं सम्प्राप्तः सुखरसविहारी मधुरिपो निरुन्ध्यारोगं मे सकलमपि वातालयपते. So with this, all the sages, they praised you, right, with the embodiment of the yajna. And then, then you then eventually return back to Swapadam. So, some of these avatarams, they're called Karana avatarams. So, they're there for a specific purpose. So, Hiranyaksha avataram was just done to, of course, get earth back, and Varaha avataram, and to get rid of Hiranyaksha. But the duration of the avataram is not that long. The Lord already came in the form of a Varaha, although he was small in size, but then he grew big, and then he did his job. Once his job is done, his role is done. Right? So then he gets back to, you go back to Vaikuntha. So with that, this avataram comes to an end. Varaha avataram comes to an end. So then Bhattaripada, oh Guru Arapa, please eradicate all my ailments also, as Hiranya, as Varaha. So Munindrair ityadi, you can break there if you want. Munindrair ityadi stavana mukarair modita manaha. Again, if you don't have a visarga, add it there. Some books may not have it. Modita manaha Mahiyasya Murtya, Bimalatara Kirtya cha Vilasan. Munindrairityadistavana mukhairmoditamanaha Mahiyasya Murtya Vimalatara Kirtya cha Vilasan.
मुनीन्द्रैरित्यादि स्तवनमुखरैर्मोदितमनाः महीयस्य मूर्त्या विमलतरकीर्त्या च विलसन् मुनीन्द्रैरित्यादि स्तवनमुखरैर्मोदितमनाः महीयस्य मूर्त्या विमलतरकीर्त्या च विलसन्
मुनीन्द्रैरित्यादिस्तवनमुखरैर्मोदितमनाः मोदितमनाः महीयस्या मूर्त्या विमलतरकीर्त्या च विलसन् मुनीन्द्रैरित्यादिस्तवनमुखरैर्मोदितमनाः महीयस्या मूर्त्या विमलतरकीर्त्या च विलसन्
Swadishnyam Sampraptaha, Sukha Rasa विहारी मधुरिपो कम निरुन्ध्या रोगं मे सकलमपि वातालयपते स्वधिष्ण्यं सम्प्राप्तः सुखरसविहारी मधुरिपो निरुन्ध्या रोगं मे सकलमपि वातालयपते
स्वधिष्ण्यं सम्प्राप्तः सुखरसविहारी मधुरिपो निरुन्ध्यारोगं मे सकलमभिवातालयपते स्वधिष्ण्यं सम्प्राप्तः सुखरसविहारी मधुरिपो निरुन्ध्यारोगं मे सकलमभिवातालयपते.
So is there a visargama after samprapta?
Sampraptah. Yeah.
Okay. Swadishnyam sampraptah sukharasa vihari madhuripo niruntyarogam me sakalam apivatalaya Swadishnyam sampraptah sukharasa vihari madhuripo niruntyarogam me sakalam apivatalaya pate.
Shri Krishna Parabrahmane Namaha. Okay, so that ends Varaha Avatar. So go to Dashakam 14, which is also very beautiful. 14, 15 come together, just like how 12 and 13 came together. It's Kapilopakyanam, incarnation of you as Kapila. I don't know how many of you know about Kapila, but if you don't, we'll learn it now. It's a very beautiful avataram which is there, where the Lord was born to teach Sankhya Yogam, of the philosophy of Sankhya. And there's two philosophies in Sankhya. One says there's no God at all, and the other Sankhya philosophy says the Sankhya philosophy but with a God, right? So we'll go through it in the 15th chapter when we go through it. But anyway, so in this he teaches it through his mother. So the mother is the Shishya and the son is the Guru in this case, right? So stanza 114 is a very simple chapter. Samano smritatavakangri yugmaha Samanuh pankaja sambhavanga janma Nijamantaramantaraaya hinam Charitam te katayan sukham ninaya. So the Swayambhuva Manu, the first Manu, right, who first came out, who when he started creating, he had this issue. So now everything has been sorted out, right? Earth is ready for civilization, everything is there, and now Swayambhuva Manu can begin his work. The entire framework has been laid out for him, so he can now begin the process of creation. So like Brahma did, also Swayambhu Manu, also what he does is he gets into a state of meditation. Before you get into doing anything, you first have to get blessings from the Lord. So he says, you know what, before I start creating, I need blessings from that Narayana itself. So he gets into a state of meditation, thinking about all your glories and about all of that stuff. So he's saying there's no issue right now. Everything is good, right? And remember, this Manu, he rules over one Manvantara, which is 71 and a quarter Chatur Yugas, like we saw the timelines. One Chatur Yuga is you add all the Yugas together. Satya Yuga, Treta Yuga, Dwapara Yuga, Kali Yuga is one Chatur Yuga. You multiply that by 71 and a quarter. That's his lifespan, right? So he's the one who's responsible for everything that happens in that duration. This is at the beginning of that thing. This is happening. So Samanu Smrita Tavakangri Yugmaha, comma, Sa Manuhu, put a F to join, Samanuh Pankaja Sambhavanga Janma. So next word I can break it into a few parts if you want. Nijam Antaram Antaraya, if you want to do it, or you can say it together. Nijam Antaram Antaraya Hinam, comma. Charitam te katayan sukham ninaya. Is happily enjoying. Everything is going fine. No worries. Samano smritatavakangri yugmaha Samanoh pankaja sambhavanga janma Nijamantaramantaraaya hinam Charitam te katayan sukham ninaya.
समनुस्मृततावगाङ्घ्रियुग्मः समनुः पङ्कजसम्भवाङ्गजन्मा निजमन्दरमन्दराय हीनं चरितं ते कथयन् सुखं निनाय समनुस्मृततावगाङ्घ्रियुग्मः समनुः पङ्कजसम्भवाङ्गजन्मा निजमन्दरमन्दराय हीनं चरितं ते कथयन् सुखं निनाय.
समनुस्मृततावकाङ्क्षियुग्मः समनुः पङ्कजसम्भवाङ्गजन्मा निजमन्तरमन्तराय हीनं चरितं ते कथयन् सुखं निनाय समनुस्मृततावकाङ्क्षियुग्मः समनुः पङ्कजसम्भवाङ्गजन्मा निजमन्तरमन्तराय हीनं चरितं ते कथयन् सुखं निनाय.
One question.
Yeah.
The second line, Samanufa, Samanuh, H, F. Oh.
Samanu Pankaja. Because Pa is coming later, right? So it will be F. Okay, we'll switch. Amuta, you can be a student, and Shailaja Praveen, you can be a student. Stanza 2. Samaye khalu tatra kardhamakyo druhina chaya bhavastadhiya vacha dhrita sargaraso nisargaramyam bhagavam swamayutam samasisheve. So while Swayambhuva Manu is, everything is going, he's about to start. So if you remember in Dasakam 10, when Brahma was, we said he was creating, there was all these various folks came about, right? And one of them, it says, if you remember the stanza, I think 9 or something, it says, Dharma dikan abhisrujannata kardamam cha. The person called Kardama Prajapati comes. They are all Prajapatis, because anyone who comes out of Brahma, their only job is to create. Except the Sanat Kumaras and others who said, I won't create, right? So they are exceptions. But otherwise, everybody is responsible for creation. So this Kardama Prajapati is also responsible for creation. And so he was born from the shadow of Brahma. So they're all kind of Brahma's sons. Like we said, you cannot treat them like sons, because if I say they are sons, then what's going to happen in the third and fourth stanza will create a lot of confusion. So you can't treat them as sons, but they came out of Brahma, right? So this Kardama Prajapati, who is also interested in creation, he goes on in the state of meditation for 10,000 years. Because at that time, so for them it's no big deal, right? They are spanning over 71 Chaturvyugas, so 10,000 years they can easily meditate. So he's meditating for 10,000 years because he's really interested in having a glimpse of you. And same like Swayambhuva Manu, he wants to get your blessings because he also wants to get into the process of creation. So Samaye Khalu Tatra Kardamakyo, Druhina Chaya Bhavas Tadiya Vacha Dhrita Sarga Raso Nisarga Ramyam, Bhagavams Twam Ayutam, if you want to break it, Twam Ayutam Samaha, put is Samas Sisheve. Samaye Khalu Tatra Kardhamakyo Druhina Chaya Bhavastadhiya Vacha Dhrita Sarga Raso Nisarga Ramyam Bhagavam Swamayutam Samasisheve.
Samaye khalu tatra kartamakyo drihinachaya bhavastadiya vacha. Samaye khalu tatra
You can
kartam.
also say the other two lines also, Amruta.
Oh,
Three
sorry.
Yeah.
Tridasarkaraso nisarkaramyam bhagavams tvam ayudam samasisave shisheve. Samaye khalu tatra kartamakyo trihinachaya bhavastadiya vacha Tridasarka raso nisarkaramyam bhagavams tvam ayudam samasishave.
Samaye khalu tatra kardamakyo.
Sorry, I think I meant Shailaja Praveen, the other Shailaja. Sorry. I think in the group we have 2 Jyotis, 2 Shailajas, 2 Padmajas, and 2 Shubhas. So like, I think you all have to put your last name. I know I see the last name, I'm just saying.
Yeah. Samaye khalu tatra kartamakyo druhinachaya bhavastadiya vacha Kritasargaraso nisargaramyam bhagavam swamayutam samasisheve. समये खलु तत्र कर्दमाख्यो धृतिनच्चाय भवस्तदीयवाचा धृतसर्गरसो निसर्गरम्यम् भगवंस्त्वामयुतं समासिषेवे
Sancha 3. Garudopari kalameghakamhram vilasatkelisarojapani padmam hasitolasitananam vibhotvam vapuravish sma kardhamaya. So Kardama is meditating for 10,000 years. And finally, Bhagavan is ready to come. And we wonder, I just broke a coconut yesterday at Vinayagar temple. I prayed, why is my wish not coming true? Like we did one coconut. He's praying for 10,000 years. And same thing will happen with Prachetas. They will go underwater and meditate for 10,000 years. Right? So anyway, so once now, like we said, the Bhagavan doesn't have a form. You can imagine any form you want. Right? So it's like if you've seen the movie Bruce Almighty and then Morgan Freeman comes and says, I am God. They're like, no, I don't believe you're God. Why? Because we haven't imagined God to be in that form, right? So always what happens is when you're meditating, you have to imagine a form. And whatever form you are meditating in, that's the form the God is going to come in. Same thing is going to have, we're going to see in Dasakam 17 in Dhruva Charitram also, right? So here, so Kardama is visualizing a certain form of the Lord. So he's visual, and then he's sitting and meditating for 10,000 years. Finally, you come. And how do you come? You come seated on a Garudopari, Kala Megha Kamram, in the black, dark, rain-bearing clouds, right? That color, right? You are there. And then you have a lotus, Saroja Pani Padmam. You have like your lotus-like hand is carrying a lotus itself. And then you always have a smiling face. Everything like, it always, Bhagavan always has a smile, except in Narasimha Avataram, that is different. So here he comes with a very smiling face and he comes in front of Kardama. So when Kardama looks, Kardama sitting and meditating, he sees this big Garuda standing in front of him. On top of Garuda, Bhagavan is seated. So he sees the face and then he sees the feet, right? And Bhagavatam, it's so beautiful. It describes that Kardama is like earning. He says, I want to see your full form. You're sitting on Garuda. I can't see you properly if you're sitting on Garuda, right? So he thinks, because when you sometimes, all of these people, when they see God, they can't say anything. They're just completely stunned, right? And that will happen in everything. Prahlada, same thing will happen. Dhruva, same thing will happen. Same thing for Kardama. They're not able to open their mouth and talk. But Bhagavan knows what you're thinking. So he talks beautifully about how the Narayana then stands up on Garuda. So he stands up so Kardama can get a full view of your, Chaturbhujam and you carrying the Padma, everything. So that way he is able to then see the full form of Vishnu there, and after his 10,000 years of meditation. So Garudopari Kala Megha Kambram, Vilasat Keli Saroja Pani Padmam Hasitolasitananam. You can say it as one word. Hasitolasitananam vibhotvam, vapuravish sma kardamaya. Garudo parikala megha kamram vilasat keli saroja pani padmam hasitolasitananam vibhotvam vapuravish sma kardamaya.
Karuto Parikalameka Kamram Vilasat Keli Saroja Pani Padmam Hasito Lasitananam Bibotvam Babura Vishkurushe Smakartamaya. Karudo Parikalameka Kamram Vilasat Keli Saroja Pani Padmam Hasito lasitananam bibotvam babura vishkureshas smakartamaya.
That last word, vapura vishkurushe.
Babura vishkurushe smakartamaye. Kartamaya.
Garudo parikalamega kamram Vilasatkeeli saroja pani padmam Hasitolasitananam vibhotvam Vapuravish seshma kardamaya.
Shailaja, on the last line there, kurushe, there is a sha sound. Sma is the sound.
Shesma.
गरुडोपरि कालमेघकम्रं विलसत्केलिसरोजपाणिपद्मं हसितो लसिताननं विभो त्वं वपुराविष्कुरु शेष्म कर्दमाय.
Rajesh, I'm sorry, can I ask you a stupid, curious question?
Well,
So, we all die like in 80 or 90 years, but they meditate for 10,000 years. There's no age factor for them at all.
See, you have to remember where they are, right? Like if you remember that Ashtanga Yoga when we Dashakam 4, after your soul, if you get liberated, right? And then you go up in the planes, in the various consciousness levels, you go to the various other worlds, the lifespan is different, right? So when you go, so you are in the Bhuloka. So when you go to the Suvar Loka, which is Swarga Loka, like you said, 1 year is 1 day, number one. So the time span, that is also different, right? The time instant is different. Plus they also live for longer time. So Brahma, like we said, lives is one kalpa is so many of this, right? So if you take like a structure, inverted pyramid structure, right? That one at the top, Brahma has so much of a lifespan. And then as you start coming down, the lifespan starts going down, right? So when they are doing 10,000 years, technically speaking, in this case, I don't know if it's 10,000 Deva Varsham or 10,000 human years, okay? So some of these things will also be different because right now this Kardama is directly from Brahma, right? So he's not in this earthly plane. He's not in Satya Loka. He's maybe one level Mahar Loka or some of that regions, right? So it's different. So of course they can, the timeline is completely different of our case. Like on that the cicada which came this summer, it has only 1 day lifespan. So you kind of think of it compared to us, right? Now my average lifespan is 80 years. 80 times 365, that has 1. So so for us, for that cicada, it will be like we are spending like 2 days doing something, or 7-day cruise we are growing, right? So it will go just a long amount of time.
But this
Tuvate pulakavritaya tasmai manuputrim dayitam navapi putrihi kapilam cha sutam swameva paschat swagatim chapyanugrihy nirgato bhuh. So this Kardama, who was originally praying because he wants to create, he's a Prajapati. But then sometimes all these people, when they see Bhagavan, they're like, you know what, why am I asking these things from you? Like, I've seen you now. I just want to get liberated. I don't want to do any of these things, right? But if everybody can't walk away from your dharma, right? So Bhagavan says, no, not yet. The time is not yet there, right? He says, what is going to happen next is that Swayambhuva Manu and Shatarupa, who is Swayambhuva Manu's wife, they have a daughter called as Devahuti. So now Bhagavan is going to matchmaking. So he's saying that Devahuti is the ideal wife for you. See, because you have to get along, right? So because Kardama is a Prajapati, so he needs somebody who is going to be supportive. They have to complement each other. He says that Devahuti is a perfect match for you. And Swayambhuva Manu and the Shatarupa and Devahuti are going to come and they will ask for your marriage, right? So I want you to marry her. And for you, 9 daughters are first going to be born, who will eventually get married. And then I myself, a portion of my energy. That's why we say it's not a Purna avataram, it's a partial avataram. So a portion of me itself, I will come and then I'll be born to you as Kapila. So till then, so he says you have to remain and you cannot completely give up everything. You have to continue your duties. That is a message that Bhagavan gives, and says finally after that you will get liberated. And once you get liberated, then you will come and join me, right? Eventually you'll come and merge with me. Stuvate pulakavritaya tasmai, manu putrim dayitam navapi putrihi kapilam cha sutam swameva paschat, swagatim chapyanugrihya. Remember the word anugrihya. Chapyanugrihya nirgato bhuhu.
Rajesh, I have a. So all this is happening. The creation is happening within the world, or where is Kardama?
Kardama is inside this Brahmanda. You remember the 14 worlds we spoke about, right? So he's in that, but he's not in Earth.
Earth, okay.
Because the creation has not yet started.
Okay.
Okay.
So also, Rajeshji, who is this? You are saying I. Who is the I here? Who is telling all this? I kind of forgot that.
Okay, so yeah, so you remember, like we spoke about one Vishnu, which is the Karanodakashayi Vishnu, from whom all the universes come about, all these Brahmandams come about, right? So that's one Vishnu, Vishnu number one. At the end of the day, like I said, is you cannot differentiate. It's the same thing. It's like coming, when you say electricity, which is coming, there's some amount of electricity which is charging my computer. There's a different amount of electricity wattage which is charging my Tesla. But at the end of the day, it's coming from the same grid, right? So you cannot quite separate them, but you're kind of giving them different roles. Okay, so that is a clarification. So that is the Karanodakashayi Vishnu, which is there. Then there's the Garbhodakashayi Vishnu, was the one who entered into each Brahmandam and then who created that Brahmandam and from whose Nabhi Brahma came. That was what we saw in Dashakam 7 and all that. That is the Garbhodakashayi Vishnu. Then we said there is a third Vishnu who's called as the Kshirodakashayi Vishnu, who's like the partial, like we said, the partial Vaikuntham which exists inside the Brahmandam, which is for sustaining the Brahmandam. So all of the incarnations which happen within this Brahmandam, like we said, there are multiple Brahmandams, right? So whatever incarnations are happening within this Brahmandam is managed by that Kshirodakashayi Vishnu. So when Brahma is going and meeting them, when the Vishnu is coming, it is that Vishnu who's coming to everybody. Because in a completely different Brahmandam, there is a different Kshirodakashayi Vishnu and a different Brahma altogether, which is in a completely different timeline where something else is happening. So you have to create these parallel versions of these universes where different things are happening. Does it make sense?
Okay, makes sense. Thank you.
Stuvate pulakavritaya tasmai manuputrim dayitam navapi putrihi kapilam cha sutam swameva paschate swagatim chapyanugruhya nirgato bhuhu.
स्तुवते पुलकावृताय तस्मै मनुपुत्रीं दयितां नवापि पुत्रीः कपिलं च सुतं स्वमेव पश्चात् स्वगतिं चाप्नुयानुग्रहय निर्गतो भूः.
On the last line word, chapyanugruhya.
Chap anugrihya.
See, it's chapi anugrihya. Okay, but the P and A becomes a pya, P-Y-A. So chapyanugrihya.
Chapya anugrihya nirgato bhuhu.
Correct. You don't have to say it as anugrihya because it's chapyanugrihya. It becomes it's a sandhi. That's it. So chapyanugrihya. Okay.
Chapyanugrihya. Stupade pulakavritaya tasmai manuputrim dayidam navapi putrihi kapilam cha sudam swameva paschat swagatim chapyanugrihya nirgoda bhuhu.
Nirgato bhuhu.
Nirgado bhuhu. Nirgado bhuhu.
स्तुवते पुलकावृताय तस्मै मनुपुत्रीं दयितां नवापि पुत्रीः कपिलं च सुतं स्वमेव पश्चात् स्वगतिं चाप्यनुगृह्य निर्गतो भूः स्तुवते पुलकावृताय तस्मै मनुपुत्रीं दयितां नवापि पुत्रीः कपिलं च सुतं स्वमेव पश्चात् स्वगतिं चाप्यनुगृह्य निर्गतो भूः.
Sounds fine. Samanushatarupaya mahishya gunavatya sutaya cha devahutya bhavadirita naradopadishtaha samagat kardamamagati pratiksham. So now is Kardama saying, okay, Bhagavan has left now. So Kardama is continuing his meditation because he has nothing else to do. So at the time, now somebody has to go tell Swayambhuva Manu, right, that you have to get your daughter married to Kardama. So that's where Narada always is the messenger, right? Because Bhagavan can't be going to everybody to keep communicating all this orchestrated plan. So Narada goes to Swayambhuva Manu and says, Bhagavan's wish is you and Shatarupa go along with Devahuti, go meet Kardama and get your daughter married to Kardama. By the time Swayambhuva Manu comes to meet Kardama, and when he approaches, he sees that Although Kardama has been in meditation for 10,000 years without eating, you would expect that body to have been completely worn out, right? And completely tired and everything. But then he's shining. There's so much tejas in Kardama, right? Because he's been meditating and plus he had the darshan of Bhagavan, right? So, of course, his body's luster is still there. He's full of tejas when Swayambhu Manu comes to meet him. Sa Manuhu, put a ish, Manush, Shatarupaya Mahishya, comma, Gunavatya Sutaya cha Devahutya, Bhavadhirita Naradopadishtaha, comma, Samagat Kardamam Agati Pratiksham. So he was also, Kardama was also waiting for them to come. Samhanushataropaya Mahishya Gunavatya Sutaya cha Devahutya Bhavadhirita Naradopadishtaha Samagat Kardamamagate Pratiksham.
Samanushadaropaya Mahishya Gunavatya Sudaya Sade Vahutya Pavatirita Narado Padishtaha Samagat Kartamam Agadi Pradiksham.
Amuda, on the second line, less Sutaya.
Sudaya.
Yeah.
Gunavatya Sudaya. Samanusadarupaya Mahishya Gunavatya Sudaya cha Devahutya Bhavadhirita Narado Padishtaha Samakat Kartamam Agati Pradiksham.
Samanushyatarupaya Mahishya Gunavatya Sutaya cha Devahutya Bhavadhirita Naradopadishtaha Samagat Kardamamagati Pratiksham. Samanushyatarupaya Mahishya Gunavatya Sutaya cha Devahutya Bhavadhirita Naradopadishtaha Samagat Kardamamagati Pratiksham.
Rajesh, Shatarupina 100 ரூபமா அவளுக்கு?
அது தெரியல எனக்கு, but the meaning sounds like that. But Shata Rupa, but yeah, still it means 100 rupams. But she's like when Brahma decides the creation, he splits himself into two, the male energy and the female energy, and she's the female energy. But I don't know anything. You get a question. I don't know if there's a context of her having 100 forms or something. But good question. That's what it means, though, right? Chapter 6. Manuno pahritam cha devahutim taruniratnamavapya kardamosau bhavadarchana nirvritopi tasyam dhridashushrushanaya dhadau prasadam. So when Swayambhu Manu Shatarupa and Devahuti come, and Manu tells Kardama, that my daughter Devahuti, she heard all these great things about you from Narada. So because the bride has to consent, right? So she says she really wants to get married to you. Because, and again, like I said, Kardama and Swayambhu Manu both came from Brahma. So both are equally powerful, right? And so he says she's really interested in marrying you. So Kardama is like very, open, right? He says, I agree. That's what Bhagavan told me. But remember, I am so interested in this austerities and meditation that if she's going to get married to me, she should not complain later, right? That he's always doing austerities. He's doing 10,000 years of meditation. I'm not able to do any of that stuff. So is she okay with it? That's the first question that Kardama says. He says, that's my priority in life. So she says, I also agree with it. I also want to help you with it, right? So, that's why I think the wives get 50% of the punyam, right? Because they help with everything, even if you don't do it. So anyway, so she agrees. Devahuti says, I agree. I will support you in all your austerities, everything that you have to do. So they both get married. But right after marriage, Kardama is busy with this austerity. So he's just always, in meditation, and time passes by, right? And after several years, what happens is, Kardama then finally realizes, and Devahuti has been helping him with everything that is there. So he suddenly comes to a realization that so many years have passed, and Devahuti has been just consistently helping him out in everything, that her own body has withered out, right? That she looks very old and she looks very tired and all of that stuff. So Kardama then suddenly realizes, you know what, she's been so committed to me and she's very happy with her service, and then it will continue into the next stanza. So he comes to the realization. Finally, he realizes that years have passed by, and he has just been focused on meditation.
Rajesh, can I
Uh,
interrupt for a second?
hmm.
Shatarupa, we were discussing, right? So what I got from the net is, formerly there were the one attracted and the other that was drawn towards the creation, the feminine and the masculine. Since the one attracted in 100 distinct ways, it is called 100-faceted or Shatarupa. So that feminine energy was attractive in 100 distinct ways.
Okay. So maybe that's why because the word Shata is coming there for a reason. Yep. Thanks, Jyoti. Manuno pahrutam cha devahutim, taruni ratnam avapya kardamosau bhavadarchana nirvritopi tasyam, dhrida shushrushanaya dhadau prasadam. So I was originally thinking we'll finish this Dasakam today, but at the rate at which we're going, we won't, which is okay. We'll probably end at 8 or 9. We'll stop wherever we end. Manuno pahrutam cha devahutim taruni ratnamavapya kardamosau bhavadarchana nirvritopi tasyam dhrida shushrushanaya dhadau prasadam.
Manuno bhagrutam cha devahutim taruni ratnamavapya kartamosau bhavadarshana nivritopi dasyam tridashusrushanaya tado prasadam.
A third line, nirvritopi.
Manuno pagrutam cha devahutim taruni ratnamavapya hartamosau bhavadarshana nirvritopi dasyam bhavadarshana nirvritopi dasyam rushanaya tado prasadam.
Rajesh, the Rushanaya.
Shushanaya.
So longer, Shru.
Yeah, Shru, long U. Drida, Shushanaya.
Shru, other end join letter.
And the first shu is a sha. Short, shu. Then is a shra, SHR. Shru.
Shushrushanaya. Trida Shushrushanaya Tadau Prasadam. Yeah.
Manuno pahrutam cha devahutim taruni ratnamavapya kardamosau bhavadarchana nirvritopi tasyam dhrida shushrushanaya dadau prasadam. Manuno pahrutam cha devahutim taruni ratnamavapya kardamosau bhavadarchana nirvritopi tasyam dhrida shushrushanaya dadau prasadam.
Stanza 7. Sapunastwadupasana prabhavate daita kama krite vimane vanita kula sankulo navatma vyaharadeva pateshu devahutyam. So because Kardama was so happy with the commitment of Devahuti over so many years without complaining, and he's been just focused on his austerities and she's been helping him. So because he has so much yogic power, like he said, he's direct from Brahma, right, at that level. So what he does is he creates an aerial palace, it says. So not just like an aerial craft. It says that craft goes into a lot of description in Bhagavatam about how it has its own city. which is aerial in nature, so it can go anywhere it wants, right? Across all these worlds, not just within one. Because remember, he's not even in this Bhulokam, right? So he can go through any levels of the worlds they want, they can go. So he kind of takes her on a universal honeymoon. That's what is happening, right? So he takes this aerial city and then he does all the help Devahuti needs, right? So she doesn't have to do any work at all, right? Completely, both of them relax. So for several years, they go around and visit all the different worlds and then just relax for a long amount of time. It says she has a lot of people to help her, a lot of people to take care of her, and Kardama is also fully dedicated to Devahuti at this point. So sa punas tvad upasana or twadupasana prabhavat, put a it at the end of that line, prabhavat, comma. Next time if you have double dha, one of them goes away. Daita kama krite vimane vanita kula sankulo navatma, comma, vyaharad deva pateshu devahutya. Sapunastwadupasana prabhavat daita kama krite vimane vanita kula sankulo navatma vyaharad deva pateshu devahutya.
The last line, Deva Pade, right? Padeshu.
Amma.
Deva Padeshu. Okay. Sabunastwadupasana prabhavat daida kama krite vimane vanita kula sangulo navatma vyaharat deva padeshu devahutya.
Actually, one time, Purvamata, let me see if we can quickly finish this Dasakam of today. No, maybe a few extra minutes. Go ahead, Shailaja.
Sapunastwadupasana prabhavat daita kama krite vimane vanita kula sankulo navatma vyaharat deva pateshu devahutya.
Stanza 8. So they spend hundreds of years together. And after they do that, finally they come back. And then Kardama and Devahuti have 9 daughters first. So after these 9 daughters are done, Kardama is like, okay, I'm ready to go, right? I'm done. And I want to just go and completely renounce everything. And I want to focus on getting liberated. So at that time, Devahuti says, hold on, Kardama, like you given 9 daughters. These 9 daughters are going to get married and they are all going to go away. You have been doing austerities for thousands of years and you are going to continue doing it. You are going to get liberated. She says, who is going to take care of me and how am I going to get liberated? She says, even I also want to get liberated, right? So you got to give me a path of how am I going to get liberated. And plus, like Bhagavan himself has said this, he himself is going to be born as Kapila, right? So she says, you cannot leave yet. So you still have to stay back till, we get a son, right? You have to wait. So Shata Varsha Mata Vyatitya Soyam, comma, Nava Kanyaha, putta is Kanyas, Samavapya Dhanya Rupaha, Vana Yana Samudhyatopi Kanta, putta plus, Hita Krit Twaj Jhana Notsuko, one word, Jhana Notsuko Nyavat Seet. Shatavarshamatabhyatītya sohyam navakanya samavapya dhanyarūpāha vanayana samudyatopi kāntā hitakrit tvajjananotsuko nyavatsīt.
Sadavarshamatabhyaditya soyam Navakanya samavapya tanya rupaha vanayana samutyatopi kantahita kritva jananot sukonyavatsīt.
Shatavarshamatabhyatitya soyam navakanya samavapya dhanya rupaha वनयानसमुद्यतोऽपि कान्ताहितकृत्वज्जननोत्सुकोऽन्यवात्सीत्.
Shailaja, the Dhanya Rupaha. Okay, it's ending there.
Okay.
Stanza 9. So then finally, then Kardama then tells, okay, if you want the Lord himself to be born, then you have to do appropriate prayers and austerities. That's the difference between Diti and Devahuti, right? Diti, even though Kashyapa said no, they ended up, merging. Here she goes and meditates for a long time, and eventually to them, yourself, Vishnu, are born as a partial incarnation to Devahuti and Kardama. So when you are born, then of course, all Brahma, everybody they come and visit because they can see from the moment the baby is born, it has all the lakshanams to say it is an incarnation of the Lord. And then they all come there and meet. The child is going to be called Kapila. So you are born as Kapila to then preach to the world, this Sankhya Yoga like we spoke about. And then what happens is the other 9 girls who they have, they get them married to various sages and all of that stuff. So they only have Kapila as a son right now. So Nija Bhartru Kira Bhavan Nisheva, put a plus, Niratayamata Deva Devahutyam Kapilas Tvam Ajayata, if you want to break it, Tvam Ajayata Jananam, Pratayishyan Paramatma Tattva Vidyam. So your whole purpose of birth is to give Paramatma Tattva Vidyam, the true knowledge of the absolute, of the Brahman. That is what the Kapila's purpose is, to be born. Nija Bhartra Gira Bhavan Nisheva Nirataya Mata Deva Devahutyam Kapilas Tvamajayatha Janhanam Pratayishyan Paramatma Tattva Vidyam.
निरभर्तृकिर भवन्निशेषवान् निरताय मद देवदेवहूत्याम् कपिलस्त्वम् अजायत जननाम् प्रतयिष्यन् परमात्मतत्त्वविद्याम्.
The first line, last word, Bhavan Nisheva.
Bhavan Nishevan.
Nisheva.
Bhavan Nishev.
निजभर्तृगिरा भवन्निषेवा निरतायामत देवदेवहूत्यां कपिलस्त्वमजायता जनानां
प्रतयिष्यन्
परमात्मतत्त्वविद्याम्.
वनमे युषिकर्धमे प्रसन्ने मत सर्वस्वमुपादिशन् जनन्यै कपिलात्मकवायुमन्दिरेश त्वरितं त्वं परिपाहि मां गदौघात्. Now that the 9 daughters have gotten married and Kapila is also born, Kardama finally then leaves, right? He then goes and says, okay, I'm going to go and renounce everything and then go focus on my liberation. So Kardama leaves. And then, then because Bhagavan, as Kapila is telling Kardama, you don't worry, I take care of everything from here on, right? My purpose is to teach, to get Devahuti liberated. And through her, to teach the entire world about Sankhya Yogam. He says, I'll take care of it, so you can leave. So Kapila leaves, and then this chapter comes to an end saying, oh Guruvarappa, you who is incarnated as Kapila, right? Please take care of all of my ailments and eradicate all my ailments as well. Vaname Yushi Kardame Prasanne, Mata Sarvaswam Upadishan. You can break it that much. Sarvaswam Upadishan Jananyai Kapilatmaka Vayu Mandiresha, Tvaritam Tvam Paripahi Mam Gadaughat. Vaname Yushikardhame Prasanne Mata Sarvaswamupadishan Jananye Kapilatmaka Vayu Mandiresha Tvaritam Tvam Paripahi Mam Gadaughat.
Vanameyushi kartame prasanne mada sarvasvam upadishan jananyai kapilatmaka vayumandiresha tvaritam tvam paripahi mam kadau ghat.
वनमेयुषि कर्दमे प्रसन्ने मत सर्वस्वमुपादिशन् जनन्यै कपिलात्मकवायुमन्दिरेश त्वरितं त्वं परिपाहि मां गदौगात्।
Shri Krishnaya Parabrahmane Namaha. चान्द्रानन्दावबोधात्मकमनुपमितं कालदेशावधिभ्यां निर्मुक्तं नित्यमुक्तं निगमशतसहस्रेण निर्भास्यमानम् अस्पष्टं दृष्टमात्रे पुनरुरुपुरुषार्थात्मकं ब्रह्मतत्त्वं तत्तावद्भाति साक्षात् गुरुपवनपुरे हन्त भाग्यं जनानां कायेन वाचा मनसेन्द्रियैर्वा बुद्ध्यात्मना वा प्रकृते स्वभावात् करोमि यत् सकलं परस्मै नारायणायेति समर्पयामि. Thank you all. Sorry, we just rushed towards the end. I was in double mind whether to finish it or not. Then I thought we'll just finish it off, So,
Thank you, Raj.
Thank you, Rajesh.
Thank you,
next week we
Rajesh.
won't have a class. Of course, next weekend, and then we'll meet the weekend after. Okay.
Okay.
Okay. Bye, everyone.
Thank you.
Bye.
Thank you.